All right, guys, thanks everybody for joining 24 Floors Up Consulting Podcast. And we have a lovely return guest, Miss Lieah Torbert of Harrington Strategic Consultants. And thank you so much for joining us this time. And guys, we had a really interesting last session with the radio interference. It was a Tejano station. So we're trying a different mic today because we have come to realize that Lieah has a very electric personality and tends to attract radio waves. So
I bring the radio with me wherever I go, apparently. So
there you go. So well, we're excited that you're here, and
hope you'll light up our followers.
There you go.
Light up our numbers.
So I'd like to get the podcast started and introduce everybody else. Patrick Weir with DigitalSellingConference.com, one of the podcast sponsors. We've got Gary L. Dennis with Unbiased Data, another podcast sponsor. And me, yours truly, Jerry Moneycarot with D-Man Training, another one of the podcast sponsors. And once again, we have Lieah Torbert with Harrington Strategic Partners. And Lieah, if you could just once again introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and what you do.
all right. Well, like you said, my name is Lieah Torbert. I'm the owner of Harrington Strategic Partners, and I work with small businesses from a strategic consulting standpoint. So we go in and we actually put your strategic plan together from start to finish, so you know what you need to do and when you need to do it and how you're actually going to get out there and accomplish your goals. One of the ways that we do that is we identify all of the major processes that are in your business and we actually map them out. So you know all the pieces that are involved, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Sometimes the why is the really interesting part because a lot of people don't stop and think about why they're actually doing it. It's just somebody told them. So then, you get to kind of adjust your business accordingly once you find your correct why. And then we actually go through and automate a lot of those back-end processes so that you're not spending all your time managing your business. You're actually getting out there and building it.
Very good, very good. And thank you for that quick update of Harrington Strategic Partners. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I'd like to talk to the sponsors real quickly. Patrick, if you could tell us a little bit about DigitalSellingConference.com.
Thank you, Jerry. And it goes a lot in line with what Lieah's doing with Harrington Strategic Partners with their social strategy. Digital Selling Conference, the idea around that is that the idea that where the buyers are these days has changed tremendously from the last 20 years or so. 2005, Facebook, 2007, Twitter, Instagram, so on and so forth. That's where people are today. Of course, they're going anytime that you want to go buy something. Where do you go? You go to Amazon and you find it, right? And that cuts out the salesperson, right? So basically, a lot of the content that's put out there is put out there by marketing departments. And so what Digital Selling Conference tries to do is through bringing people together in a one-day event is thought leaders and experts on the subject of digital selling to teach them or provide them with some valuable insights on basically where their customers are at, how to appropriately target them, how to engage with them, and how to provide them with an experience more so than a service or a product. And in doing so, you can find yourself into the customer's journey, discovery process a lot earlier, and you can gain more credibility out of that. So with that said, the Digital Selling Conference is, again, it's a one-day event. It's on the day after Valentine's Day, next winter, I guess, if you will. That's February 15, 2019, and it's at the San Luis Hotel, Spa, and Resort Center. I think I said that right. And it's going to be a very exciting event. We got 10 thought leaders who are going to be speaking to us across the day. There'll be opportunities for networking from all various types of industries. It's industry agnostic. And there's going to be great opportunities for networking in and around each of those workshops. So
Excellent.
digitalsellingconference.com, and you can find us at Facebook, which we're on right now, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Did I miss anything?
Snapchat.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I think that's your department.
Yes, look for the bunny ears. I'll have a rabbit nose on. Not really.
Yeah. So anyways, we're very excited about it, and we're proud to be a sponsor of this podcast.
Excellent. Thanks, Patrick. And next sponsor is Gary L. Dennis, or rather, the sponsor is Unbiased Data. Gary, if you could tell us a little bit about Unbiased Data.
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here with these exciting people, consulting firms, and just glad to be on the podcast. Unbiased Data, what we do is we help our clients understand what their clients and their employees really think about their business. So I don't know, those of y'all that work for companies, if your employer were to ask you, what do you think about our business? You may be hesitant to share exactly how you feel about that company if you're not very happy with certain things. If you're a customer, the same sort of situation. You may not feel comfortable sharing how you feel about one of your vendors if you may just go somewhere else instead of working with a particular company. So what we do is we come in as a third party. We meet with your clients and we meet with your employees. We gather data about the perception of your business. Our data analysts create custom data models, and then we have consultants that make business recommendations based on the data. We have PhDs, we have MBAs, but regardless of their education level, they rely on the data to make business recommendations. So,
Hey, thanks, Gary. And final podcast sponsor is D-Man Training Technologies, and just want to let you know we provide marketing consulting, helping customers find their unique voice, their singular voice, and also sales training. And currently, our big focus is digital selling.
Oh, we got Matt here. Hey, Matt. Thank you.
Okay, thanks
Sorry.
for joining.
Matt, thumbs up, Matt.
Thanks for joining us. And so, once again, I'd like to say thank you to Lieah for joining us again, and I'd like to raise a glass. Everybody, this is a happy hour, so cheers. Thanks for joining us. If you're not drinking alcohol, cheers, Patrick.
Salud.
And like Gary, then
You have a sippy cup.
choose whatever drink you want. I have my coffee there on the side, but so everybody, we had so Lieah had a boot camp last week, and it was about automation and about processes. Could you tell us a little more about what the boot camp was about?
Sure. So it was a 2-hour boot camp, and the idea was for the first hour, we actually went through all the components that are involved in building out your strategic plan. So we talked about setting the vision for your company, your mission statement, what your guiding values are, and then we walked through the different areas of what you need to have in your financial plan, your sales and marketing plan, if you have an HR department, kinds of things that you need to have in there, or if you're planning on hiring people in the future. And then we talked about some things that you need to keep in mind for supply chain, as far as if you carry inventory or if you need things just in time, to make sure that you've actually vetted your vendors properly and you have alternatives available in case something happens. Because if you only have one supplier and something happens, maybe their warehouse burns down, or they go into bankruptcy, or maybe there's a flood or a hurricane, well, you still have to be able to provide your products, right? So you need to have alternative plans built into that. And then from there, once we'd actually identified each area of your strategic plan, we started talking about different kinds of processes that you need to build into your everyday activities to make sure that those plans are actually carried out properly and that everything is being handled efficiently and consistently in your business. And then from there, we actually identified automations that could be implemented to help take care of those things a lot faster.
So I find that very interesting. First off, I got to say one of the most interesting things I heard was going over mission statements and values. I was just thinking how many businesses out there don't have any of those things. So, they're just like, let's start a business and let's go about it.
That's right.
But one of the fascinating things that you just said was, you were discussing this, but if you had an attendee that came in and said, hey, I don't have any inventory or such like that, why would I need a contingency plan? I mean, what would you say to that person?
Well, it's not
Great
just
question.
carrying inventory, like you're selling a particular widget. What you also have to stop and think about is, do you have printing materials or promotional products that you use in your business? Whether you're out at networking events or you do conferences or vendor booths or things like that, you may have a smaller vendor that does your promotional products that, maybe someone got sick and they had to shut the business down for a couple of weeks. Or, there could be a shipping situation when Hurricane Harvey came through.
Right.
You couldn't get anything in or out of this city unless it was an emergency supply. So you couldn't get anything in. I mean, UPS wasn't delivering, so it doesn't matter whether you ordered it, it's still not here.
Right.
Your product brochures, different things like that. But just because you're not using it now doesn't mean that you don't necessarily need to think about contingency plans in your business elsewhere.
Very good. Okay, that's very interesting. Never thought of that. One thing I wanted to also bring up is, and Patrick, you showed some interest in that via LinkedIn about your upcoming Evernote webinar.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? Last time when we talked, you talked about the value of Evernote. Maybe if you could shed some light on that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I use Evernote to manage all aspects of my business, and I teach my clients how to do that as well. One of the reasons that I really find Evernote helpful is that it's a workspace that you can keep track of everything in. So I manage all of my client projects there. I can keep track of all of our contracts, all the different documentation. If there's marketing materials that we're working on, I built a website recently where we had to keep track of all of the different branding materials. When you're going in and, okay, there's these 3 color palettes that we have to use and use these logos and things like that. I had other people that I was collaborating with, so I was able to bring them into one central workspace to share all of that information at one time. It wasn't having to send emails out to 5 or 6 different people and then hope they read them. Just send a quick little notification, everything's in this folder. So this webinar is designed to introduce people to Evernote. A lot of people have heard of it, but they're not actually sure how to use it. So to go over just the basic functions of Evernote and explain what it can do, and then I'm actually going to go live in my Evernote system and actually build out some different things that you can use in your business every day and start using Evernote right away.
That's exciting to hear because, excuse me, we use Evernote collaboratively on our different business cases and business projects. However, I don't think we've exploited the full capabilities.
Right. I think we've barely scratched the surface on that. I think it's more like I see it as an iceberg of the way that we've been using it. So basically the way that we've been using it is we record meeting notes, right? And people can go, or any of the 3 of us can go back and look and see what exactly was said and discussed, but that's where it stops. So,
do you have a template that you use?
Well, there we go. I mean, there's an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about all the different functionalities that you can use from a high level view of Evernote.
And when's the webinar again?
August 22nd at 1 p.m.
August 22nd, 1 p.m. So LinkedIn, I guess, is probably the best way to log into that?
And you can find me on LinkedIn, but you can also check the events page on my website, harringtonstrategicpartners.com.
There you go. Events page, harringtonstrategicpartners.com. That might be a good webinar for us to attend. I mean,
signed up for it earlier this afternoon.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Right. And so we're going to have the information in the notes section and the comment section. So if you could just repeat the website once again, please. Lieah?
Sure, it's harringtonstrategicpartners.com.
And that's where we're going to get. We're going to have the information to this, and we'll also have a link to the sign-up page.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to take a little break once again for station identification, Once again, this is 24 hours. Sorry, 24 hours. You know, that's
24 hours. We are rolling 24 hours nonstop.
It's Friday after all.
Nonstop. We sleep right back here. We get up and we just
I
keep
don't.
rolling.
I don't work here.
Or just regular Elon Musks.
Hey, cheers, guys. Cheers to entrepreneurship. So, 24 Floors Up, consulting podcast. And we're here in lovely Houston, Texas, and in the heat and humidity. Up high, as Patrick is showing.
Literally,
Look at that
20
view.
floors up.
Yeah, it's an amazing view.
Toyota Center.
So much fun.
Out there somewhere is a medical center.
I can show this on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, guys. Yeah.
Instagram here, too. Here we go.
And so we have our special guest here today, Lieah Torbert, automation expert and digital transformation expert with Harrington Strategic Partners. Lieah's had a workshop, a boot camp about automation. She's going to be having more in the future. And right now she's having a free webinar coming up. So make sure you guys all sign up for it. In the meanwhile, I'd like to also pass it on to our podcast sponsors. We have Patrick Weir with Digital Selling Conference. And Patrick, if you would just say a couple of words for Digital Selling Conference, please.
Right, again, Digital Selling Conference, digitalsellingconference.com. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Google Plus. I don't know. Lots of places. Stand by for that. But anyhow, Digital Selling Conference.
Vero now.
Sure. Reddit, Pinterest. Which one? I mean, you got any more out there? Come on.
Pin the conference.
There you go.
There you go.
Anyhow, Digital Selling Conference is a one-day event where we will have 10 thought leaders, experts on digital selling content, which is basically helping salespersons provide higher conversion rates through digital transformation. And that's what we all talk about in this podcast is digital transformation. All of your services, all Gary's services, the unbiased data, and D-Man training technologies, we talk about digital transformation. We're trying to teach salespersons how to engage more with the buyer earlier on in the journey, so that they can provide a higher, more of a value, more credibility to help separate themselves from the pack, to grab sales where they might not have otherwise. And again, it's going to be on this February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, 2019, so this coming winter, in beautiful Galveston, Texas. We promise there'll be no red tide. It's going to be blue seas. It's right on the seawall. It's at the San Luis Hotel Spa and Resort Center. 10 speakers across 10 hours. There's going to be excellent networking opportunities. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that the services that Lieah provides with Harrington Strategic Partners. And we're really looking forward to y'all's input on this. And we'd really like to hear about certain topics that you'd like to hear, but what are some emerging trends that are happening. Things happen fast these days, so this is, I believe, the real value of this conference, and we're really looking forward to it. Again, we're really happy to be a part of 24 Floors Up podcast.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and what's the best way to find out about the conference?
DigitalSellingConference.com. You can also find us on Facebook, which we're streaming live right now. We're on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. I think that about covers it. And there's going to be roughly about 300 attendees and a lot of corporate partners from across the Houston metro area, and who knows, maybe across Texas and beyond.
I'd like to point out, and it's not just exclusively for sales folks, right?
No, sir.
Working business owners and other corporate partners that are looking to improve their. What are you laughing at?
I clicked the button.
It's good grief, man.
I clicked the button on it.
Unbiased Data is on Snapchat now.
Talk about unbiased data. Can you tell us a little bit more? We've got Gary Aldenis with unbiased data. Playing with
I've never seen him this red.
No, well, I'm on Instagram, but I clicked the wrong button.
Open your mouth.
This is why you have the sippy cup.
Oh
isn't it?
gosh! You got
Yes.
All right. That's why you got the sippy cup.
That's why he had to get the big iPhone 8.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Gary L. Dennis has fat fingered his podcast.
I know, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Sorry. All right, this gets serious here.
This is like when you walked into that other place. You walked through somebody's office and you jumped up and said,
I know. That was just you have to bring up everything, every mistake I've made here. Okay.
That's Gary's passion that he brings to the pod.
That's right. Excited about it. Well, so one thing that I'm extremely excited about is, speaking of Lieah and her experience in digital transformation, she's actually speaking at the MBA in a Day coming up on August 24th. So there's going to be a lot of consulting firms there. Demand Training is going to be there. Smart Group Houston is going to be there. Harrington Strategic Partners is going to be there. Unbiased Data is going to be there. So there's going to be a lot of business content that's going to be covered. I mean, you're going to walk away from that event with the ability to start a business, grow your business. If you're managing a department within a corporation, you're going to be able to better manage that, because the knowledge you get there can be used in so many different ways. If you're looking for a job right now and you don't have and you want to stay up to date on trending MBA topics, go to this event, and then when you have that interview, you can talk about those topics. So I'm excited about that. As far as Unbiased Data goes, as a company, what we do is we help with corporate strategy, and the way we do that is we talk to your clients and we talk to your employees, and us coming in as a third party. They're more willing to share information with us because we are coming in as a third party, and then we have consultants that can provide help with the strategy development. So that's in a nutshell. But I can't mention it enough how excited I am to have Lieah speak at our event. If you want to register, there's only a couple weeks left, and it's an exclusive event. There's only 40 people that are going to be there.
It's in the Woodlands, correct?
It's in the Woodlands. It's at the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce. But if you go to GaryLDennis.com, click on the online store, click on MBA in a Day, and there's a promo code I'm giving out today on the podcast. Type in SUCCESS with a capital S, and you'll get 30% off of the rate for that event.
That's
so,
SUCCESS for you folks who didn't take part in the natural spelling bee.
With a capital S.
With a capital S.
Yes.
I think that's a really good discount, because the prices are going up as we get closer to D-Day, right?
Right. The pricing just went up, but with this discount, you'll actually be below the early bird rate. So yeah, the price is going to continue to go up as we get closer, because it is a small event. We want it to be engaging, and that's the intent of it, is to allow you to have conversations with the speakers and really get a lot out of it. So
can you tell us some of the topics that we might hear, aside from as well as what Lieah will be speaking towards?
Sure. Digital marketing versus digital selling, digital transformation, business finance, the lean business model startup, business strategy, and business analytics. So everything that's trending right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. And final sponsor of the podcast is Demand Training Technologies. Once again, we provide marketing consulting towards small and medium business owners. Our biggest focus is on healthcare companies, and we also our focus is also on sales training, particularly digital sales at this time. So check out demandtrainingtechnologies.com. And once again, oh gosh, who is this trying to call me? Sorry, guys. So once again, hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it, and we're hoping that the video will come back. Sorry about that. But good grief, you did the funny ears on me.
Sorry, man. I just can't resist it.
Oh, you can't resist. There you go. Knock yourself out with your funny ears.
Yeah, I have no clue how to get this thing off of here.
All right, so Lieah, if you could, coming back to you and trying to get a little more serious. Well, this is a happy hour.
Don't put that pressure on me now.
This is a happy hour, so
We're just sitting around a table on bar stools talking shop.
Right. So, Lieah,
I'm gonna switch that.
Look at how he's laughing.
All right.
Oh, man.
Okay.
He's got Patrick with bunny ears now.
That's great. I'm happy to help the show progress.
Okay, I got to figure out how to turn this thing off.
Hold on.
All right. So, Lieah, you want to tell us about? I was perusing your website earlier this afternoon. You have tons of great content on your website. You have a blog. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that and what value that provides to your audience.
Okay.
Oh boy.
It's a little distracting over here.
Oh, sorry.
But
Okay.
I use my blog to really just share a lot of information that business owners need to think about. I've done a series on analyzing and making sure that you understand what your customer avatar is, getting to know how your business actually relates to all of your customers. Mine is a much less technical aspect versus what unbiased data does. But just to make sure that you're thinking about how you approach your customers, how your employees approach your customers, or when you're just out there talking to different people, making sure that you're staying on brand and on message while you're out there, and then really focusing on your customer journey. As you're meeting people, as you're trying to bring them into your business, after they're on board with you, making sure that you're providing that quality service all the time. Like, you don't just bring them in, sell them something, and then drop them like a hot potato. Like, that's just not how you need to handle your business. So, actually putting a plan together and making sure that everybody that's involved in that process knows what that plan is, knows what your message is, and actually follows everything so that you're building your reputation and building your brand out there. And then another series that I've focused on is kind of related to my boot camp recently, but just going through how to actually set up your processes and procedures in your business, and tips and tricks to make sure that you're actually taking care of things and you're not missing stuff that changes in your business. So one of the recommendations that I make is that you review your high level procedures on a quarterly basis. Your business changes organically, but your procedures are static documents. You created them at the point in time, and your business will change constantly. Who you're working with changes, how you work with them changes. I mean, you want to talk about digital transformation, think about how we did business 10 years ago versus how we're doing now.
Right.
If you haven't updated your procedures in a while, you probably don't even have social media on there.
Right.
But that's a part of how we do business every day. So reviewing those procedures and making sure that you're staying on target. When you bring people into your business, you refer them to your procedures. Okay, well, this is how we handle accounts receivable. This is how we handle our onboarding of our clients. If they're not updated, they're not going to be doing things correctly. And you can't fault them for it because they were following the outdated instructions that you gave them.
Right. So if I'm hearing you right, you perhaps help update the business model quarterly and then automate that for your customer? Or is that a little too simplistic?
I don't actually.
Because I think that's a great service to help somebody, like you said, constantly stay update with where their business is at, where the business environment is at. And
we put the plan together.
The business model.
We put the plan together, and as part of that plan, we will actually put reminders in the calendar in whatever systems that they're using to prompt them to go, okay, at the beginning of the quarter, I need to review these top 5 procedures. Now, if it's a larger company or they just want to review more, we may spread out like once a month. There might be 5 procedures that they could review, just so that throughout the year everything is being looked at, it's being updated, and all the current information is there.
Excellent.
That's a good point. Talking about automation and the fact that it needs to be changed and improved, but hey, you're automating that whole reminder system right there. That hey, it's time to look at your procedures once again.
Yep.
I think that's a really awesome idea. I never even thought of that. Hey, you can utilize Outlook, for example, for that purpose.
You can Outlook. You can utilize Evernote.
Okay. I did not know you could do that through Evernote.
Evernote has reminders.
Yeah, actually, I had
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say I had an opportunity to have coffee with Lieah a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about some of the things from an automation standpoint she's doing, and it's just amazing. I mean, it made me feel extremely unorganized when it comes to how I conduct my business. So I'm going to be talking with Lieah on how to.
That's not the only thing you're unorganized with. You're unorganized with the podcast. Looking at bunny ears.
Well, for those of y'all that didn't know what was going on, I was laughing so much I was crying. So we were talking about Snapchat earlier and the bunny ears. And I have Instagram going on here, and I clicked the wrong button, and bunny ears popped up on Jerry over here. And then every time I moved the phone around, bunny ears popped up on. So, and I didn't know how to turn it off.
Is one of them. So you can create a note, and that note could be a checklist for a procedure. It could be, just keeping track of the things that you have to do every day. Okay.
Finish your thought.
Yeah. So when I was working at a previous company, one of the things that I used Evernote for actually was from a performance review standpoint. I would keep track of all of the major milestones that I accomplished in a note in Evernote. That way, when it was time for me to go into my review, I actually had all my backup data.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So in a year, you're not going to remember everything that you did. Your boss absolutely isn't.
Right.
So, even just, as an employer, when you're looking at that, as you're working with your employees and they accomplish something really cool, but maybe you don't have a incentive system set up, you can just keep a note for each one of your employees and just make a note on there. Hey, Gary did really good on this today, and I want to remember this, when it comes time for review purposes. Another thing is setting up templates. So everybody has meetings, right? But one of the things that, everybody complains about meetings is nothing ever actually gets done.
Right.
You have a meeting,
Amen.
You talk about everything that you need to do, and then no one ever actually follows up to make sure it got done. So if you actually have a template set up to where you can have the agenda and then you have notes during the meeting, you can actually have an area for action items, and then you can email that out. You can share a notebook with the people that need to have access to it. You can set reminders on that note, which will send it out to people to go, hey, take a look at this. You need to look at this. It's very easy to build an accountability system using that. But you can use templates in all areas, in your new hire process, when you're interviewing someone, when you're onboarding them. There's all these documents that you have to give them, and everything has to be done in a particular time period to follow the legal requirements. You can put all of that into a template in Evernote.
There you go. I know we're running short on time here, but if you want to find out more
That's
about
fantastic.
that, reach out to Harrington Strategic Partners. Lieah can help with that. She knows what she's doing. She's very experienced. She'll also be speaking at MBA in a Day on August 24th. She has a webinar coming up. So check her out, LinkedIn or HarringtonStrategicPartners.com. Thanks for joining. Anything else? Close it out.
That's it. I'm just going to say I'm going to go ahead and close out the podcast. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Lieah, thank you so much for coming back in again.
Thanks for having
me. Sure, definitely. Yeah. And we've learned so much. We're going to have information in the notes and in the descriptions about what's going on in terms of Lieah's webinar, the free webinar, mind you, that's coming up, and also upcoming boot camps that she'll be having here in Houston. So thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Cheers.
All right. Guys, have a great one.